His touch makes your skin crawl. You love this man. You chose him. But when he reaches for you at night, your whole body just pulls away. You go rigid. You manufacture an excuse. And then you lie there in the dark, feeling like something is wrong with you. You've started avoiding eye contact at dinner. You feel nothing when he says, "I love you," and that terrifies you. You look at him sometimes and think, where did it go? And the thought you've never said out loud, the one that comes at 2 a.m. is, what if I just don't want him anymore? That thought isn't the truth. It's a signal, and it's not coming from your heart. It's coming from your hormones, running a program your body wrote before civilization existed. Your brain reclassified him, not as your lover, as a logistics manager, and it locked the door on purpose. Darwin documented the mechanics of this over 150 years ago, the way nature temporarily dismantles pair bonding to concentrate every resource on infant survival. What he described in his research, your body is running that exact code right now. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you're going to understand exactly why this is happening, which hormones flipped the switch, and what you can actually do to work with your biology, instead of being destroyed by the guilt of it. Lock this in and drop it in the comments. I understand my body, and I know how to work with it. Because what your body does next in this cycle, that's the part nobody warns you about. You've probably been lying there rehearsing excuses. Too tired. Too touched out. You love him, but something shifted, and you can't explain it without feeling like a monster. You're not broken. You didn't change. Your body quietly ran a program without telling you first. Nobody handed you the manual. I call this the biological lockdown. Not an emotion, a chemical event. Prolactin floods your system after birth. It produces milk. It also suppresses estrogen, the hormone that makes closeness feel wanted. It doesn't fade slowly. It drops hard. And you didn't feel it leave. You just noticed one day that his touch felt like too much. Your nervous system is wired to protect the infant's resource pool. Proximity to another adult seeking intimacy, in evolutionary terms, risks a competing pregnancy. So your brain doesn't negotiate. It closes the door. Darwin documented this. The temporary dismantling of pair bonding post-birth isn't failure, it's architecture, built to protect the infant. Same code running in you now that ran in every mother before you. 3 stages. Stage 1 is the chemical redirect. Estrogen drops and closeness shifts from comfort to pressure almost overnight. Stage 2 is sensory overload. By evening, your nervous system has hit its contact ceiling. His reach doesn't register as love, it registers as one more demand. Stage 3 is the guilt spiral. You pull away, he notices the hurt, and now you perform what your body is refusing. That performance costs you more than the distance ever did. But underneath the guilt sits something even heavier, and this is the part that keeps the lockdown running longer than it has to. I call this the loyalty trap. Society told you that being a good partner means staying available. So when your body says no, your mind translates that as moral failure. But you're not failing. You're caught between 2 biological imperatives running simultaneously, mother and partner. And your body has already decided which one takes priority. That's not cruelty. That's design. Drop this in the comments. My body is running a program. I am not the program. But here's where it gets darker. Because the system doesn't just affect what you feel, it shapes what he does next. And that's where most couples quietly fall apart. Before we continue, If you're still here, you don't settle for confusion. Hit subscribe. What's coming next is the part most couples never reach. You were probably told somewhere that the answer is effort. Push through it. Date nights. Don't let the spark die just because you had a baby. Be both things at once. Think about the last time you tried that. You pushed through, smiled, and after, you felt worse, more hollow, more distant from him, not closer. That wasn't weakness. That was the wrong map being used for the wrong territory. I call this the false repair, the belief that intimacy can be willed back before the biological lockdown completes its cycle. Here's what actually happens when you try. Your nervous system begins associating your partner with pressure and obligation. You're not rebuilding desire. You're wiring avoidance into the foundation. Stop. Sit with that. Because it means every "I'll try harder" you've told yourself may have been extending the distance, not closing it. Rousseau wrote in The Social Contract that any union maintained by pressure rather than genuine consent becomes corrupted at its foundation. He was describing governments. He was also describing your bedroom right now. Stage 1 is the performance loop. You override the body's signal, and the signal doesn't disappear. It gets louder. Stage 2 is the association damage. Your nervous system begins linking him to discomfort, not safety. Stage 3 is the widening gap. The harder you force connection, the further the real thing retreats. But here's the deeper contradiction. The guilt driving you to push through, that's not even yours. I call this the borrowed shame. Society handed you a story. A good mother is also a present wife. So when your hormones say no, your identity says failure. But those two roles were never designed to run at full capacity simultaneously. You've been obeying rules that were never built for your biology. Weber called this a legitimacy crisis, when an authority loses its rational foundation. The social expectation that you perform both roles equally, immediately, without recovery time, it was never legitimate. It was just assumed. And what was assumed can be examined. Stage 1 is the identity conflict. Mother brain and partner brain cannot both run at peak. One will suppress the other. Stage 2 is the shame spiral. Guilt fills the gap between who you are and who you've been told to be. Stage 3 is the invisible cage. Shame keeps you silent, isolated, and performing a version of yourself that's costing you everything. Say this: I refuse a role that was never designed for my biology. And once you understand what's underneath all of this, everything clicks into place. Because there's one thing Darwin understood that connects all of it. And once I show you, you won't be able to unsee it. Here's what actually works. Not effort, not performance, not gritting your teeth and pushing through. Something quieter, more precise. You know that feeling when you hold your baby and every cell in your body goes calm? That's oxytocin, the same bonding chemical that once connected you to your partner. Right now, it's fully allocated. Your body's bonding capacity didn't disappear, it transferred. I call this the resource redirect. The path back isn't forcing the transfer to reverse, it's understanding the timeline, removing the guilt that's producing cortisol, and extending the lockdown, and creating low-pressure conditions for the system to complete its cycle. Darwin's research points here. Pair bonding, suppressed for infant survival, naturally seeks restoration once acute dependency passes. The lockdown is designed to lift, but guilt, pressure, and performance extend it. Every night you lie rigid and hate yourself for it. That shame spikes cortisol, and cortisol suppresses the very oxytocin that would bring you back. 3 things that actually work. Stage 1 is naming it together. Tell him what you just learned. Not, "I don't want you," but, "My body is in a temporary biological lockdown. It has a mechanism, and here's what I need while it completes." That one conversation moves you from rejection to information. It changes everything. Stage 2 is protecting non-demand touch. Small, safe, no agenda attached. A hand held, a shoulder rested on. Your nervous system can accept contact that carries no expectation. Start there. Rebuild the association slowly, not through performance, through permission. Stage 3 is removing the cortisol load. Stop performing. Stop pushing through. Every moment of guilt extends the lockdown by spiking the hormone that suppresses your return. When you stop fighting the program, it completes faster. That's not giving up. That's working with your biology instead of against it. Remember that moment, lying rigid in the dark, manufacturing an excuse, his touch making your skin crawl, convinced something in you had died. That wasn't the end of your marriage. That was your body doing exactly what it was designed to do. And now you know how to work with it. You came here feeling like a cold, broken version of yourself. You learned that the coldness has a name, a hormone, and a timeline. You discovered that pushing through it wires avoidance deeper. Now you see, the path back to your partner doesn't run through willpower. It runs through understanding and removing the guilt that's been keeping the door locked longer than it needed to be. If something in this shifted, share it with someone who needs a map right now. Hit like, subscribe. Every person who understands this changes how they show up. You're not here by accident, and neither is what you just learned. Darwin spent years documenting how nature prioritizes survival over sentiment. He didn't write about it to frighten us. He wrote about it so the people who understood it would never be its victims. That's you now. Use it well.